We have the Three of Cups. So mentally, you may be in a space of celebration, thinking about your close connections with people, thinking about, if you have like kind of a sisterhood or brotherhood, a group of people that you're like closer than friends, you've become this like support system for each other and can really make each other feel good, enjoy your space together, some kind of group activity, something, however this is playing in your life. It may be weighing on your mental state a little bit this month, or you're searching for this kind of energy. And again, seek beauty in it. Find the beauty in your relationships, find the beauty in your friendships, find the beauty in your loyalty for each other, your trust or your support for each other, or in some of the people you may not feel super connected to right now. Look for the beauty in your relationship with them. Oh, geez, breaking all kinds of stuff. I got things going on with my camera. Okay. Sorry. Let's pull a card for your physical space. We have Strength. Sorry, excuse me. This may very well have to do with your confidence within your physical space, feeling very comfortable and secure, feeling like you can tackle whatever this beast is that's in front of you in your physical world. And the beast could represent anything. It could represent an addiction or an attachment to something. It could represent a project or a circumstance you have to deal with, but you feeling very confident and being able to deal with the situation. And she's not beating the thing to death. She's just coming from a place of knowledge and just this, I know that I can do this, and I know I can tame this lion. A lot of times when I see this card, I think of, do you remember what was it called? Something Dundee, Crocodile Dundee, when he's like staring down the wild beast and he's just standing there looking at it. Like, I think about that with Strength. Like, he just knew that if he behaved in a certain way, this beast was not going to attack him, right? So how does that kind of play into your physical world? Is there some kind of situation in your life where you're going to have to pull on your confidence and your security, your knowledge of, I trust myself to be able to deal with this? And it may be finding beauty in that beast, finding something beautiful about whatever this horrible or beastly situation you may be dealing with. Finding its beauty may give you an upper hand in understanding what it is and how to deal with it. Let's pull a card now for your emotional space. We have the Knight of Wands and the Ace of Swords. The Knight of Wands, I always see him as very charismatic, looking all fancy on his fancy prancy horse. Like, he's just sitting there. He's brightly colored, all this flame stuff. This is a card of fire energy, so maybe a fire sign or bringing out, that fiery side of yourself. He, again, confident. He's confident. He has charisma. He has this sense of, I'm so sorry. He has this presence, this stature about him, right? Even his horse is like showing off a little bit. So in your emotional space, you may be really excited this month, or charismatic and have this ability to engage with people, and you might really be feeling yourself. You may be feeling this confidence and like, yes, I'm finally getting things together. I'm feeling really secure in my space, and I'm seeing how much beauty I have in my life and how good things are. And we also have the Ace of Swords coming out here, which is a card of logic, but it's coming up in your emotional space. So I'm going to take that as even in our emotional stuff, not to get too caught up in the glitz and the glam of what passion or excitement can bring, but to maintain a sense of logic within that. And being very coming from a place of, I just know what decision I need to make. I'm very confident. I'm going to be able to use my words and my actions to align with what fits me and fits into this. I'm going to be able to tell people no. I'm going to be able to tell people yes. I'm going to be able to tell my emotional whoever it is I'm dealing with emotionally, I'm going to be able to be forthright with them. Start a line of communication that's direct and honest and true, that kind of stuff. Fair. And combining those kind of energies, I think, are beautiful, because if you get too caught up in this, you can become kind of egotistical or too flashy, or too, you might be on the side of exaggeration, if you will. But coming with this card, this is maintaining a confidence, but not getting too over the top. And this one, an ace is one, this one kind of direct, but I can keep this going. I can feel this and be really honest and be really fair and be really just and be logical about how I express myself emotionally. And I apologize, my rote is crazy loud today. Sorry about that, guys. And we're going to get some cards pulled for your spiritual space. You have the moon, and sky went to the floor, the 3 of Wands. In your spiritual space, you may be taking another perspective on things, trying something out that's new. The moon card is, okay, so the sun shines on the moon, which reflects the light to us, right? Is that how that works? And so this moonlight, though, it's still sunlight just reflecting off the moon. And it's amazing how one beautiful, amazing, comfortable space can then, when the moon comes out, it feels dark or scary or shadowy. It can talk about our shadow work, dealing with those deep recesses within inside of ourselves. But it can also just talk about this evolution that happens, these cycles that happen. The moon is how we keep track of all of our cycles here on Earth, right? Like, we watch the moon, and where is it in the sky? How far or close to Earth is it? It counts our days and even our hours. We depend greatly on the moon. And so coming into this from a spiritual standpoint, as we do go through cycles with our spiritual life, we may be seeing things in the moonlight now instead of the daylight. We may be seeing another perspective. We may have a willingness to reach deeper into the shadows of ourselves and learn more about ourselves and express spirituality in a different way. The 3 of Wands is really has my attention of things moving in a different direction, willing to step out of a comfort zone, willing to go, okay, I want to learn more about this, or I want to express this more. And how can you pull those things into your spiritual space? Maybe it's trying a new class, interacting with different people, going to some different kind of function, whether it be a church group or some other kind of spiritually in the spiritual group, or regardless of how you express your spirituality. But I see this as being willing to do it in a different way, and thinking, okay, I've kind of come to the end of that cycle. Now I want to learn about this, or I want to learn about that, and pulling more into your life. Now, what we're going to do, Pisces, is I'm going to pause the camera, move some cards around, and we're going to get into the second part of our reading. Pisces, I've just moved the cards up out of the way. I'll reference them if I need to. But we're going to use another deck here and pull some cards. Why? Okay. Jeez, if I can shuffle it anyway. The first cards we'll be pulling are for the position challenge. So some kind of challenge you may experience this month, and my hopes are with pulling the cards and already having a conversation about them. If you come across that energy this month or have to deal with a situation like that, you'll already have a clear point of view of what your perspective is on that kind of situation. And we have the Two of Wands. So to me, this always speaks of a polarity, like two very opposing kind of things. In another deck, it shows a man within a really, like, it looks like a wealthy household standing on a balcony looking out over the land, like he's longing to go on an adventure, but he's stuck at home. And I understand that card very deeply because I myself am a hermit. I have a family. I have responsibilities. I like to be at home. That's a big part of who I am. I also love to travel and adventure. So that's a duality that I experience in my own life, and it's represented in cards in a way that's like, oh, I get that. I get that energy to my core. So in your life, if you're dealing with some polarities right now and you're like, I want to do this and this, and these are two aspects of myself. Going back to this Moon card again, and there's two pillars literally shown in the cards as well, and two wolves. So this two thing is kind of showing up here for you of what was my point? I had more of a point than that with the moon. So that showing up in your spirituality of and I'm saying this willingness to maybe try something different or see something differently, and taking it deeper and going into those recesses of yourself, into those shadow parts of yourself, and saying, that is part of me, and I accept that part of me, and this is another part of me, and I accept that part of me. And even if you want to look at it as good and bad or right or wrong or whatever, hopefully you will not. Hopefully it'll be more like just this is part. You don't have to put one above the other. They just are, right? Take the ranking scale out of it and just be like, these are two parts of me, and I'm willing to accept both of these things. And how can I pull these things together to work within me? And instead of forcing them into corners or trying to forget about them or not accept them about myself, how can I make them work for me? So that may be coming out in the challenge. And again, seek beauty. Seek beauty within yourself this month. Oh my goodness, that dog's driving me crazy. I'm so sorry, Pisces. I hate to quit in the middle of a good reading because I feel like I lose my momentum or whatever. Let's pull a card for your strength this month that you may need to utilize. The Six of Swords and the Four of Wands. The Six of Swords is about removing yourself from situations that aren't good for you. So maybe someone not treating you properly, or a situation that's just not, that's hurting your boundaries as a human. Being like, nope, we're not going to do that anymore. The Four of Wands, this looks like a party, right? They're dancing under fireworks. They're having a good time. And I always think of the four pillars of a home with the four wands standing there. It just feels like a structure. It feels structured to me. It feels like this like solid state of, I know I have this and it's good and I can celebrate it and I can feel really good in that energy. So those two cards coming together for your strengths this month. Take good care of yourself. Surround yourself with people that have your best interests at heart. Be very mindful about that. Don't allow yourself to be around people that are going to treat you badly or be abusive in any way. And don't allow that energy to be around you. Don't, because you need to not treat yourself like that either. So I would think a lot in this, again, going back to this, it's like these are very kind of similar energies here. So I'm really getting a sense that your support system is going to be very meaningful for you this month, and use it as a strength surround yourself with good people that can treat you right, that you can enjoy yourself with, and you don't have to worry about being compromised when you're with them. Let's take a need to know card. We have the 9 of Wands, so we're pretty wand heavy here. We had the 3 earlier, and now we have the 2, the 4, and the 9. This is telling you to hang in there, to do the work, that the gains will be seen in the uncomfortableness. So just like this weightlifter, the only way he's going to add bulk and build muscle and meet some kind of goal is by being uncomfortable. He needs to fatigue those muscles and work those muscles in a way that's going to promote growth. And that applies in our life every day. In those very uncomfortable moments is when the most progress can be made, because when we're uncomfortable, we're going to think outside the box, or we're going to get really innovative to get ourselves away from being uncomfortable. So if you're uncomfortable right now, if you feel like you've been putting in a lot of work and you're like, oh man, I'm taking that as a hang with it, you're almost there. 9, the next number is 10, of course. 10's a card of completion, like you've made it. I feel very strongly that you've been putting in work. And I think it's important to maintain that confidence and to become more comfortable with being uncomfortable. You know, to get excited, to see the beauty in the discomfort and be like, what did Will Smith say recently? And if you're not a Will Smith fan, well, what's wrong with you? But if you don't know, he has a YouTube channel and it's actually really good. The production value is awesome on it. Of course, it's Will Smith. He has $1 bajillion to have a team filming him and so forth, but he's so cool and I like his insights on life. And I don't agree with every single thing he says or does, but I think he has a really cool perspective on life. And he went scuba diving with his children and they were all scared to death, and he said something to them once they were back on the boat, that on the other side of fear is the beauty. And, you know, he was talking about once he stopped being scared under the water and really opened his eyes and looked around like that, it all became so beautiful and so comfortable. But he wouldn't have gotten to experience that if he would have stayed in the fear. So if you're putting in the work right now and whatnot, find the beauty in it. Be okay. Know that on the other side of that fear, the other side of that discomfort, the other side of that really hard work you're doing or whatever is beauty, is something awesome. Just hang in there with it. And we're going to take in a suggestion card. We have the Knight of Swords and the 10 of Wands. The Knight of Swords. We had the Ace of Swords up here. And I talked about being logical, being just, and being fair. And this is the air sign. That's the air element of that, all of that encompassed into its most masculine form here in the King. So this King, that is his goal, is to be just and fair and honest and true. And he may be a little devoid of emotional attachments and so forth, but he is just really focused on the truth. And sometimes we can forget that your truth is different than my truth, and it's different than their truth, and all of our truths are a little bit different. But it's the pursuit of things being just and fair that's so commendable about this kind of energy. And it coming out as your suggestion card, as I was saying earlier with the Knight of Wands and this Ace of Swords coming earlier is being in this confident, I can be smart. I can make the decisions I need to make. And as long as I'm coming from a place of trying, of good intent and being straightforward and being honest and just being true to myself, that's going to bring so much good. And we have the 10 of Wands here beside it, which I know is a horrifying card. And it's another Wands. Like I said, it's a completion. This 10 of Wands always kind of makes me think of taking on too much, or, you know, he's obviously carrying around things he shouldn't. Overburdening oneself with other people's stuff. This card is a warning to that. You know, 9-10, I was talking about this completion. When you get to this, you know, getting through these uncomfortable times and growing, but don't take on. Sorry, had a coughing fit. I'm going to try to pick up where I left off. Do not take on stuff that doesn't belong to you. Why in the world is this man carrying around a roach, right? It's because in this uncomfortable space or in this growing space, there sometimes comes this point when you feel like it's all on your shoulders and it's only your responsibility and it's only your thing. And you can get overconsumed in it. So from this energy to this energy, think about if you're in this place of, you know, I'm uncomfortable, I got to make things better or whatever. Do you end up picking up things along the way and trying to control each little thing? And it coming out with the King of Swords, it very much says to me, in order for this not to happen, you need to empower as much of this energy as possible into your life. So being very straightforward, you don't have to be mean, you don't have to be cruel, you don't have to, you know, whatever. But saying no when you mean no, saying yes when you mean yes, be willing to say, that's not for me, whatever this is, that's not for me. I'm not willing to take it on. I'm not willing to take that gross thing. I can find completion without burying myself. And as long as I'm upfront and honest and straightforward about my intentions and what I feel is just and fair and right, I won't end up in a position of being burdened by things I shouldn't be holding on to in the first place.